Hello, everyone, and welcome to the North Pole Happy Hour. This is Monday. That's right, Monday. As always, we are here to have some fun. Please say hello and welcome back to Phineas T. Elf.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be back. It's great to be home after a couple of weeks' travel. So good to see everybody.
Yeah, and of course, we can't forget to say hello to Randall Santa Checker Lee down there on the bottom.
Good to see everybody again. Welcome back, Phineas. Great to see you, Bob and Angela, of course, back there, keeping us all in line as much as any of us can be in line. But good to see everybody. Welcome back, Phineas. Glad you're here.
Sometimes that goes both ways. We have to keep her in line too, right? All right. Well, fantastic, man. We're glad to have everyone along with us again today. We've got another great show lined up for you. The Elf Appetizer has a lot to dig into. So, first thing off, let's talk about the weather like we always do. It's 90, cloudy, chance of rain for the next 6 or 7 days, some storms. And Phineas is hotter than we are. Tell them about it, Phineas.
Hotter up here in the North Country. Yeah, it is 96 degrees and sunny and humid here. So we elves ain't used to that. So
And
There you go,
Randall.
Phineas. Does it help? Does it help?
thanks, Randall. Thank
Good. You're
you.
welcome. Thought it helped.
And Randall has storms.
Yeah, we're in the middle 80s or upper 80s and thunder and lightning out there, but it's only supposed to be as windy as it is till the next 2-3 hours. So if I just disappear all of a sudden, I wish to say it'd be magic, but it'd be the internet going out.
Well, the weather is magic at times, so you never know. So
It
Well,
is.
and Randall and I was talking earlier about all the snow that the Rockies have gotten the last couple of weeks, and last night it was snowing big time in big portions of the Rockies. I like to go to the live webcams and look to see what's going on in other cities, and I went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and they were getting snow at the time, and I noticed that Salt Lake City and some of the other western states in the high elevation was getting a lot of snow. So here we are, mid May, and there's still snow out there.
That just seems wrong. Just like wrong, you know.
Absolutely. All right, let's get some inspiration going here. We got that segment we like to call a hot cup of cocoa with Santa B. Let's go to that real quick and see what he has to give us today.
Ho, 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 and happy day, my friends. Santa B here with you again today. Last night, I spent a fair amount of my evening and late into the night at the emergency room with a friend of mine. He had been doing one of his favorite things. He was bowling, and he ruptured a tendon in his arm. And it reminded me as I have been working out more and trying to be healthier that our muscles can take on gains a lot faster than ligaments and tendons and other things. And so for a lot of us, as we are starting to really gear into preparing for our season, even though it may seem early, but I know we got to start moving. We got to keep moving. And don't forget that just because you start to get some good gains in your muscles, that you're not leaving yourself open and pushing too hard, too fast, too far, and leaving yourself open to injury. Folks, I just want to make sure that as we all prepare for our Christmas season, that we are taking care of our bodies, our spirits, and our minds, because it is so important to make sure we're doing all the things we can to be our very best. Be blessed. Be well. I love you all. Bye-bye.
Yeah, the issue is that our mind don't know any better. But every morning when we go to roll out of bed, our body reminds us.
And most of us being Santa, we're in that next age bracket. That upper age bracket that we need to get out and walk daily, that we need to do the right foods, and like he said, like Santa P said, get ready for the season. Even start now. Just go for a short walk. Build up that, cardio a little bit so you can take a long day, or you can, lift up a few children. And you got to be careful lifting children anyway because your hands, but still you really have to take care of yourself physically, because it's a busy season. Mrs. Claus and the elves are the same way. They do just as much. Sometimes I'm sure Finney's running back and forth does more running than Santa does a lot of times in some of those lines. So definitely it's something to start take care of yourself because we are on that. Never know what's going to happen to that ticker or that gentleman who's hurt himself bowling.
Well, it's the thing, because it just takes one little wrong move, and suddenly you've slipped a disc in your back, or in Centipede's friend's case, injured a tendon. Lots of things can happen. So keep active, keep moving, keep yourself limber, particularly even if you're doing chair work, because you're going to need to be able to lift children who may or may not want to be lifted or what have you. So you've got to take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. So definitely.
It's a natural progression of aging. Our bodies start to deteriorate. 50s, 60s, 70s. Each decade, it declines more and more and more. We try our best to stay as healthy as we can, but like you said, you just never know when you're going to move wrong, cough wrong, bend over wrong, and your body just don't like it. So take care of yourself, as Santa B says. Okay, are we ready to move along to the Elf Appetizer? All right, Angela, let's roll into the Elf Appetizer with Phineas.
Well now, that's not just a burger, that's a statement. Welcome to the Elf Appetizer, where we get straight to the meat of the hot topics. Stop drooling, fellas, we're just getting started. We stack it high, truth, humor, a little heat, and we don't nibble around the edges. So pull up a chair, loosen that belt, and let's take a real bite out of this thing. Let's carve into it.
I want to see what the main course looks like if that's an appetizer.
I know. Every time it says loosen that belt, every time I see that commercial, I got to let the belt loop out another notch. But
yeah, I was going to say I did enjoy a burger while I was in Pigeon Forge at the pottery shed at the old mill, and it had bacon and pimento cheese on it. It was
now you're making me hungry, and after 5 o'clock tonight I can't eat because the doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I got to that all night.
Break for a burger. I love burgers. Burgers are one of my favorite meals. I can do it probably 6 or 7 days a week.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Phineas. What are you, brother?
So today's Elf Appetizer is a top chair placement agency is revamping its training for its employees and Santas, a tool that helps set crews and Santas deliver an improved memory and experience for family and especially the littles. In the Claus community, what one or two things do you think Clauses and other Christmas performers need to improve on the most? If you are or have been a chair Santa working with the crew, how can training improve the performance of the crew? Should training be mandatory for all Christmas performers? Should all working in our industry have to be certified to be able to work or perform in any capacity?
Yeah, that's a lot there to chew on, but it all goes in hand. Our Elf Appetizer is a hot topic that we notice in our Santa community that is being talked about. This is a subject that's been coming up quite often lately about whether or not there should be some type of certification program out there, in light of how some people can slip through the cracks. Is there any possible way that training can help? Training with the set crews, Santas. What does training look like in 2026, 2027?
It would be wonderful if we somehow train, like if you're at a big box store or at a mall, that you can train with the people that are doing the photography, because a lot of them aren't professional photographers. They're just holiday help or somebody from the store got transferred for the time or something. If they could train with a Santa and work together to make, because it's kind of two different things going on in a way. They want to get a picture, but you want to do this and got to do this. And so if they could train together, and I think it would be a nice thing, and definitely a certification of some kind or some kind of a training too, also for other reasons, things you don't do, things you totally look out for, those things.
I think when you're being hired by a specific company to do a specific job, it's up to the company to make sure that everybody that works for them understands what the role is and how they work together. And so, if that placement agency is looking at ensuring a uniform experience across the board wherever they are, because I know that they just want to be able, if there's an illness, they just want to be able to slot someone into that chair if there's an illness or something. I can understand why they're having training, because it will help the performers understand what the goal of their placement, their role in that placement. It will hopefully help the photographers understand what the performers are there to do and not do, as well as the performers to understand what the photographers and set managers and set crew are there to do and not do. So it's a good way of establishing expectations. Now, as far as certification, the question that brings up the certification, um, the individual in question had all of the police checks done, had the vulnerable sector checks done because of their other role in the community, and it still wasn't caught until too late. Certifications, if a company's got specific rules or specific training, yes, if they're demanding you go for training, then go for the training. If you want to work for them, you'll need to be trained. But if you are a freelance performer, your mileage may vary, but I will say you don't know what you don't know until you know what you don't know. And that training will help you get other perspectives and other ideas as to how you can comport yourself as whatever character you are.
So true. And for us, we go through training each year with the company that I'm with. It's it's kind of basic stuff. If you're a seasoned Santa, the new guys, I'm sure they put a lot out of it. There's going to be two levels of training this year: those for the newer Santa and those for the seasoned Santa, which is I think was a big upgrade for our company. You know, I know that it's hard to hire seasonal help for 5, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it may be, and it's a part-time minimum wage job in many ways. And so, you know, my biggest thing is very first day on set before we ever get started good, I'll have a little powwow, bring everybody in and talk about the hand signals, talk about the eye gestures, talk about the different poses that I'm going to do, that I like to do, over and over and over and over, and how they can be ready for each one. And then, of course, after all those interactions before the child leaves, and we're talking about what the child wants for Christmas, those are some of the best shots. Those are candid shots. They're not setup shots. They're real. It's face to face. And those are the ones that I stress the most to my set crew about trying to grab, because, again, I just love that natural interaction between child and Santa.
And that's what I think if Santa could get together with the crew, that would help a lot.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what some of the stuff is going on over here in the chat. Let me go up and see if I can pick some of this up. Got to find where the hellos stop and the good stuff starts here.
Santa Jeff B's got one there, Bob.
Okay, go ahead and grab it.
Okay, so Santa Jeff B says the incident in Florida raised a lot of questions, but he was a Santa who was background checked. Certainly, training and people who were around him regularly may have helped it catch it sooner. Other than that, we should train in EEO, harassment, trafficking, and similar education should be something to make yourself a better applicant. And that definitely would help. And yes, that is tough, difficult training to take, but it also is the kind of training that folks who have regular contact with the public and regular contact with vulnerable sectors should know. So definitely, for sure. So.
By the way, Jeff McMullen is our guest on Tuesday Night Live tomorrow night. Always good to have Jeff on. He is someone that we get on at least once every year, sits in on some of our roundtables at the end of the year, which he is always so knowledgeable about. And he says that he is happy to address some of these questions tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty big subject of what can happen.
Here's one right here. Somebody grab it.
I think an option for Santa and the photographers to move around and accommodate larger families and a spectrum of children.
Yes, and that depends also on what kind of event you're doing and the setting for the event. how many people are there. So, we understand that everything varies, but in the general sense of things is what we're looking at. So,
I do know a lot of the organizations and bigger companies do have certain days or certain hours during the day where they have quiet Santa to accommodate the special needs believers and visitors. And definitely, I think there needs to be discussion about how to handle larger families, because so oftentimes you see more than 4 or 6 people. Sometimes you get 10 to 15 to 20 people on set with you, and you've got to be able to work that out
yeah,
with.
and that really gets complicated sometimes
Yep.
because these families want mixed pictures. They want these two grandkids in the shot with grandma and grandpa, and then they want these two grandkids, and then they want mom and dad and the grandparents. I mean, you can end up taking a series of photos that may take 10, 15 minutes, where normally in a fast paced setting, you got 3 or 4 minutes at best. So that really can become an issue. Ernie says different venues require different training, photos, visits, etc. Back to the sensory portion of it, we have Sensory Santa Sunday that we do at our mall, and it's part of Cherry Hill Program's overall program. We get there 2 hours before the mall even opens. So, I mean, it is like you can hear a pin drop in there. The lights are low. I take my bells off. We make sure that we know our families, do a questionnaire ahead of time so we know what their needs are. And so Santa prepares for that as well as the set crew. I have really enjoyed doing those events through the years. Our numbers haven't been real big, but just to do a service, even if it's just 3 or 4, 6 families, 8 families, you're still providing a service to them that they otherwise wouldn't get because of their sensory problems and things of that nature that they want to come to a crowded mall during peak hours.
What's
Yeah, the
good
big
with
event
that?
that David and I do has 2 hours at the beginning that are for sensory, and the lights are low because we are surrounded by blow up castles and other things that create lots of noise. None of those are running at the time, so it's just a nice quiet time where people can get take the time to get the photo and memory they want and visit they want with Santa. So
It's always good when that is pre-set up ahead of time. Then you
yeah,
know that is everything aligns with your special needs. So it's great. Then there is no cross between the photographer knows, Santa knows, Mrs. Claus, whoever knows. Everybody knows that during that period you're only going to get, it's going to be special just for that and accommodated by them all or whatever the corporate. But it's when those mix in, that's when Santa and Mrs. Claus or Santa photographer, everybody needs to have a talk beforehand to know what to do during that when it's 8 o'clock at night and they're just coming in at the last minute.
yep.
And reflecting back on my first couple of years at the mall, uh, I didn't know ahead of time that the independent school district had a program set up with, at the time, worldwide photography to bring in their classes on slow days. And so I was kind of thrown into the fire with that, learning about autism, learning about some of the special needs. And but through the years, it's the same students, the same teachers that come, and you get to know those folks and you build a rapport with them. And just real quick, there's one of the high school boys that uh, always wants to sit next to Santa. Well, Santa found out real quick after twice that that's not the person you want to sit next to. He loves to take two handfuls up underneath here and
Oh,
lock in
oh
and will
boy.
not let go, pulling my head down. And it took two instructors and myself, me holding his arm so he's not putting any strength, and he's strong, and them trying to unwind his fingers out of my beard. But it didn't just happen once; it happened twice. And on the way out, he reached and tried to grab again, and just as he got it, I grabbed him and was able to work him loose without much problem. But so you get to know your clientele sometimes, but bless them, they don't understand. It's the world they live in, and we have to adapt to their needs.
But like I said, training and everything ahead of time. I mean, we're not going to be trained for everything that can happen. We're not. But there's so many of Santas and Mrs. Claus that have been through so many different things to blend together, for like something like this to tell stories, tell them what happened, or when you go to a school, that's what that knowledge sure does help, because then you think, wow, that could happen to me when I'm doing that the next time.
There's been a lot of talk about schools lately. Are they worth it? I know they're expensive. I know it costs a lot. Uh, some of the stuff you get over different schools, different platforms, depends on your instructors. I mean, I think, and Gordon and I, and this was something that Gordon always said, it doesn't matter. We're not in competition. We're all here serving the community. We're trying to elevate the level of professionalism within this community, make sure everybody's on the same page to give the best experience to the children and families we can. Get out and experience one school a year if you can afford it, at least one, or one major event. And I think
I
a
mean,
lot of people think that.
I sure wish it was schools when I first started. I mean, there was one school, C.W. Howard, and it was impossible to get into right away. You had to have people sign for you, and the money was just out of my price range 40 some years ago. So, wish back then, boy, it would have been wonderful to have as many choices you have each year in different parts of the United States to go to. I'm sure you can find one that's within driving distance. One, like Bob said, once a year even. You don't have to do 3, 4, 5 times places, but there's groups or there's free this, to learn.
Scholarships are out there. You look for the
There's
scholarship.
scholarships out there for everyone.
Fortunate enough to
Yep.
get a scholarship. Here's one for you, Phineas.
Santa David, who I work with, says not only Santa doing the event, but our photographer needs to be aware and is excellent at working with the neurodivergent children because it takes everybody, Santa, the photographer, the set crew, to be on the same page. And yeah, we're all working for the same thing. We're all working to provide a memory, and in many cases, a photographic record of that memory. So yeah, if we are all working together and we're all firing on as many cylinders as possible, we will make sure that the children and visitors have a good group visit. So.
I know you and David work together throughout the season. Do you have the same photographers each year at these events, or?
So at the big event that we do, it is us and our regular photographer who we've worked with now for 9 years, and she is absolutely wonderful. We know how we work together. We know how we work. So the big event, which is literally 1,200 families in 8 hours, it runs like a well-oiled machine now. It's that well-oiled machine sometimes feels like a meat grinder, but it runs. So.
That's fantastic. 9 years. Wow. You
nice.
really get to know each year
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how they work
It's nice
especially
to have
for a good
rapport with
photographer.
your photographer and get to have get to work with the same group of people each year, because it really, as Phineas says, sometimes it's a little bit of a grind depending on what happens. But I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's there, everybody's on the same page, and there's not a lot of time lost getting familiar with each other. You get right down to business. So
Yep, and we've learned to trust each other. So when I come up to the photographer with a harebrained idea, she knows to run with it because it will create a memory for the family. So
So many photographers don't sometimes know that Santa, elves, Mrs. Claus kind of know some of those things. You can give them little suggestions, but they've done children photography for how many years or whatever, and it just doesn't. Oh, that's why it's good to talk ahead of time. Because you can't discuss it then. You're not going to discuss something with the photographer in front of the families, so you just have to go with it. But you wish you could.
yep.
and again, I guess in closing, let's say that you don't have to have training to be Santa. You can play by the seat of the pants. Your heart's in the right place. You learn. This week, preparing for the maps sent
Ooh, hard
box,
knocks.
I have run across a chapter that I had almost kind of forgotten about, but it talks about how many hours in a heavy, high volume chair you get opposed to doing home visits or small events, and how long it takes you to get that same amount of hours. And this comes all the way back to Tim Conahan's class. He talks about that. You're not really, in his eyes, considered at the time, he was saying you need 1,000 hours of seat time to be really well rehearsed and can get in there and do pretty much anything, answer any question. That was something that he had said in my very first class, and Gordon kind of picked up on that, and he used to bring that out also.
I mean, it is you do a mall, you do a big box store. It is learning under fire. You can go to school, but that is training that you'll never get any other place to go out there and do it in something like that. It really sink or swim.
Ray says, I haven't grown up with Tourette's myself. I have a unique experience that relates to the neurodivergent community. Did I say that right, Phineas? I know you're better at pronunciation.
Neurodivergent, yeah. So.
All right, that was a good segment. Let's go ahead. And next up is santascloset.org, and we're going to roll into that now. Phineas, you're on stage. Let them have it, brother.
Okay, so today's sleigh bell brain teaser, which is brought to you by santascloset.org. We will need both the letter and the word for the answer. So today's question is, what city in the United States holds the record for the coldest Christmas day in recorded history? Once again, what city in the United States holds the record for the coldest Christmas day in recorded history? And your responses are A, Caribou, Maine, B, Minot, North Dakota, C, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and D, International Falls, Minnesota. So,
Oh my goodness. Sorry.
so
Didn't mean to interrupt.
Mine goes along with the same question as Phineas, but this, of course, is the bonus round. The winner of that gets their name inside the hat for a scholarship for North Pole Cornerstones 2027. Again, have to have the number, the letter, and the answer. What was the record temperature of that coldest Christmas day on record in history in the above city? So you kind of got to know both, in a way, what the above city was. So what was the record temperature? A, minus 62 degrees Fahrenheit. B, minus 57 degrees Fahrenheit. C, minus 37 degrees Fahrenheit. D, minus 49 degrees Fahrenheit. That was
That's right, and we have a Phineas bonus round today. Phineas, you want to grab that last one there?
And today's bonus round is, what year was that above record?
Ooh, got a cool questions. No pun intended. Cool questions. That's not cool. That's cold. That's downright cold.
That kind of goes hand in hand with today's theme, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Someone should have knocked on my head over here. I didn't know I didn't put the right.
No, it's kind of better that it starts a little later because by the time we read them, they've already answered them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Remember, we have to have the letter and the description on there, not just the letter or not just the description. So we have a couple people I see coming up there just has the letter, and of course then Phineas' bonus question: what year was he above record? What year?
Yeah, and if you just had one question, the letter would be fine. But when you got multiple questions and are all, A, B, C, D, etc., we need the answer and the word, please. That way the producer can decipher who's got it and who got it first. Okay, Angela, let's go ahead and roll into our next segment.
Cool.
got Hilton Garden Inn and Conference Center, Oklahoma City North. That is Edmond, Oklahoma, on the north side of Oklahoma City. Dates are February 18th to the 21st, 2027. 4 days of Thursday through Sunday. Those are full 4 days. NorthPoleCornerstones.com, our website, updated for 2027, will launch either tonight or in the morning. Not sure exactly when Deanna's going to get that published, but it's ready. We worked diligently to get it out earlier this year, and so go over and take a look at it. If nothing else, you might be intrigued for what's coming up for 2027.
Should we tell them again how many scholarships there are again for
There are
that?
6 scholarships available for this class. That's 6.
6 scholarships.
6.
Scholarships.
Radio Programs has 1. TNL has 1. North Pole Cornerstones has 2. Mike Hutchings has 1 available for a Canadian performer.
Yes.
Larry Lance Memorial Scholarship, and Randyl has 1. You want to tell them about yours, Randyl?
Yeah, also the Magical Scholarship is also available for North Pole Cornerstones also. Got 1 coming up for there. And that should be on the website. It's all the rules and regulations, just like all the other ones I've done. All the other ones on how to win. It's easy.
And again, 6. And we understand that can everybody attend a school, and some guys are saying I don't need it. Well, again, like Randall said, you don't know, or maybe Phineas says, you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it. It's not as much. I mean, you do get a lot out of the class, the curriculum. It's the interaction, the fellowship, the whole weekend in general, everything rolled into a bundle. With most of these schools now, you're getting meals for North Pole Cornerstones. We have an executive chef that serves some of the best food I've ever had at any event. Absolutely, just love his style and what he does and what he offers for us. So again, we understand it's not cheap. We're there trying to help get folks in these schools that can't go. 6 scholarships. Those scholarships are worth $479 this year. So get out and do it.
That's almost $500 savings to go. I mean, and a lot of people hopefully can drive. You drive, a few nights hotel, your food's paid for. I mean, the fellowship is priceless.
Yeah, get yourself there and enjoy the weekend.
I'd love to have you.
Definitely.
All right, Randall. WWOC.
Yeah, the Wondrous Women of Christmas is coming real soon in Cincinnati, Ohio, June 25th and through 28th of 2026. There's 4 scholarships also for that one going on. The time limit, I think, was up May 15th. So hopefully you had your. We've already picked a couple winners, and hopefully there's a couple more winners still available. If you need more information about the wonderful Women of Christmas, that is womenofchristmas.com. Put out by Liz and Rachel. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be some great speakers. Don't miss it. Get your.
Folks don't even know half of it. They have been really hush about the festivities and all of the different events that are going to take place at the Wondrous Women of Christmas. Scott, myself, Rachel, and Liz had an extensive meeting this week, and TNL on the road is going to be there to cover. There's a lot that we're going to do live, but there's a lot that they're not wanting to do live. They're wanting to record, and I can't really go any further than that, but it's going to be pretty cool. They have really gone out on a limb to make this a one-of-a-kind event. So.
And of course, coming next week already, the Jingle Joy Retreat for MAPS, Michigan Association of Professional Santas in Clare, Michigan. The man up there, the Hall of Fame, Bob Masters, will be teaching the School of Santa. So join us there. I think we might be a seat or 2 left. Not many, but Bob will be, that's why we won't see Bob's smiling face here the next couple weeks, because he will be traveling from Texas up to the middle of Michigan, about right there, in fact, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. But Jingle Joy is a great weekend. It's done at the reindeer farm, so you get to see all the reindeer, and they got a couple cool sloths and fellowship, and it's a great time. Then Saturday, there's things going on after Bob's class. Friday.
This was
Yes.
just yesterday's work.
Wow.
Preparing. See if I can do this real fast, like
It'll be
here.
fun. Saturday's full of crafts and fellowship. And look at that. Bob's is ready.
Curriculum all laid out. I got 4 pages of curriculum. There's 36 different topics, I believe it was. 30, I think it was 36 different topics over the course of 2 days. So, gonna be cool. Gonna enjoy ourselves, have fun, and maybe learn a little thing or two along the way. So,
Great time. Beautiful place. The reindeer farm is beautiful. They have a lot of reindeer. They have babies there. They have llamas there.
sloth.
Sloths. There's
Sloths.
just 2 of them now. I forgot there's 2. And they got,
Highland cows, the whole 9 yards.
they got a
It'll be
beautiful,
cool. It'll be
a
fun.
beautiful little train that takes you for a ride around the property. It's just a good time. And
So, with all that said, I will be off next Monday, and the following Monday, Phineas and Randall will be doing a show without Bob. Bob's going to be traveling both those days. We'll be leaving Sunday morning, heading out, and won't be back home until Monday night, I believe, before we get back. So we'll be gone just over a week.
safe
Okay,
travel.
are we ready to dig deeper with Phineas, and then followed by Magical Performance A to Z with Randall? Let's go.
Good day, everyone, and we're continuing to build your North Pole. So, right now, where I'm at and where Randall is at, we are experiencing some unseasonable weather. And when you are visiting with children and you're coming down from the North Pole, you will often get asked, Santa, what do you think of the weather we're having? Last year, we didn't have very much snow in southern Ontario where Santa David and Phineas work, and we were explaining that we were test riding the sleigh with because we can't use the runners because there's no snow, that we had to put all-weather radial tires on the sleigh and test run that just in case we didn't have snow for Christmas Eve. So this is where I'm going to ask you, what do you do if you experience unseasonable weather? What do you say if you experience, if you work Christmas in July? How does Santa talk about coming down south during the summer months when you're used to living up at the North Pole? So if you're doing a Christmas in July or Christmas in August, what do you say? Clearly, if you're doing that, you've got the lighter outfit, maybe a Hawaiian shirt, maybe swim trunks, maybe shorts and a bowling shirt. You never know. But what would your answer be with, "Hey Santa, what do you think about this 95-degree weather with 110% humidity?" How would you answer that question? Phineas usually would just say, well, Phineas is not used to the weather, and take the hat off and fan himself, or he always has a bandana with him and he will mop his brow and go, I'm not used to this kind of humidity. We don't get that up at the North Pole. And then we move on quickly. But during the wintertime, when we're having unseasonably mild weather or it's raining during the Christmas season or the holiday season, we oftentimes have to answer that. And Phineas even has a buffalo check umbrella that he uses to help shield Santa when we're trying to get in and keep Santa dry, so his fur and velvet suit don't get wet, because nothing is worse than the smell of wet fur. Everybody knows what wet dog and wet reindeer smells like. Oh, so definitely you need to have an answer quickly. You need to have an answer on hand. So It's 95 degrees here where I'm at, and Phineas is not enjoying the heat, even though I am wearing my bathing suit and I am hoping to go out to the wading pool because the reindeer are too busy drinking at the watering hole and I don't want to interrupt them. So I've got the wading pool out back, and I am going to stick my feet in that wading pool to cool myself down soon. So think about that. Ernie Russo says that for him, magic snow will appear when he needs to land the sleigh, but melts very quickly after he takes off. Of course, Santa only uses his special sleigh on Christmas Eve. And that is a great answer. As I said, Phineas is pretty practical and says, well, we've got all-weather steel-belted radials that we can put on the sleigh and retrofit the sleigh with. Charlie Johnson says, for Christmas in July, the elves put turf-type soft tires on the sleigh. We land at the local airport and borrow a Santa friend's car. The red suit is much too hot and stays home. Shorts and Hawaiian shirt for the summer. Definitely, definitely. I hope you tan them legs, Charlie, because no one wants to be blinded by the white legs, you know. John Schnagelberger says that they get a large swing between 30 to 60 degrees and usually not a lot of moisture until after Christmas. So he has to be prepared for a lot of weird questions about snow or cold at the North Pole. And definitely, this is all stuff that you need to be prepared for, especially if you live in a more moderate temperate area, or if you are someone who lives in the southern hemisphere and the seasons are off, and it's actually December 25th is the height of your summer season, and it is hot, hazy, and humid. So lots of things to think about. We actually have had on Tuesday Night Live, we've had the Australian Santa talk about their Christmas season and their Christmas in July, because their Christmas in July happens during their winter. So lots of things to talk about, lots of things to consider, and I hope that is something you'll think about this week, and I will see you next week. Thank you and have a good day.
Ho, 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 ho!
Shop Thermo Apparel. They're wonderful. They're fantastic. And for the coolest of cool Santas or Easter bunnies, remember Thermo Apparel.
Don't just be cool as an attitude. Keep cool, literally.
Thermo Apparel. Be cool.
Ho, 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 ho!
Since 1948, one suit defined Santa. Designed by Charles W. Howard and worn by the world-famous Santa Claus School. Worn for presidents, movies, parades, and the most magical moments in families' lives. This is not a costume, but finely tailored, hand-sewn clothing made in the USA. With expert cleaning, restoration, and storage services available, Santa & Company, LLC makes Santa magical.
Thank you. Let's start over again. Welcome and thank you, Phineas. I could hear myself, but I guess you guys couldn't. I just didn't want to be heard while you were bothering yours. That's a cool thing, Phineas. I got to listen to you. That's why. Make sure I turn mine off so I can listen. So I just wanted to say welcome and thank you for joining me at Magical Performance. I appreciate it. And of course, I always show you some magic, but I want to show you something that's magical that doesn't take up much room. That's a different kind of magic for the children to be associated with, and that's called optical illusions. Yeah, optical illusions are a fascination to a lot of children, and there's an awful lot of holiday ones out there, and they're very easy to do. You can find them online, of course, but they're little things like this. You can talk to the children. It's just the thing. Now, as a tree, it might not work on the internet like this, but if you're live, it works well. Is the tree pointing towards you? or are the things pointing back? It just, optical illusions for the children are fun because they want to know. Same way with the candy cane. Whoops, let me put two-hander there. There we go. Are the candy canes parallel? They look a little wobbly to me, but it's another type of magic that you can interact with the children, or Mrs. Claus can. There's so many out there. Which red dot snowflake is bigger? The top one or the bottom one? Which one is bigger? It's that optical illusion. It's the same one as this one here. This one just has the background. It kind of throws it off even more. That even throws it off even more for your eyesight. Which red snowflake is bigger? So it's just a little bit more mad. In fact, let's do this one. Everybody knows this one. A lot of the children don't know the which one is larger. Of course, this one looks larger, but slide it together. They're the exact same size, and we can make that one larger. It's just an optical illusion. In fact, I will flip it over so we definitely can see that. Looks much smaller. And a lot of children don't see optical illusions or have seen these type of things before. So something small that you can carry, always have in your car, ready to go. It's kind of like that's that Cub Scout thing. Always be prepared. And these are some things you can have along in your case you have that don't take up much room, that you can interact with the children. You're slow and you're at a mall and you only have a couple families. You pull it out and you interact with the children. Then if you want to, it's just a piece of paper. You let them take it home. It's just another gift. It's just another way to add some kind of entertainment. Especially these, I think, are always so fun. It's just a piece of paper. You can hand them to them and let them amaze their parents. So another thing, it's magic, but it's not magic. Let's take magic a step further, which I love to do. We always like to do our naughty and nice list, and well, I found another way of doing a naughty and nice. Well, let's see if you've been naughty or nice. Now, this is a keyboard, and I can type in the right letters. You can type in the name of the right child. You type that in, and then you see, are you a naughty or nice? And you open it up. And you have the nice cards appear. Now, these are the naughty and nice cards on Spangle. I like to buy them because they fit good in there, but you can put little candy canes in there. Then what I do is you give them to the child, saying, now put this underneath your pillow, put the nice up, so it's closest to you, so it'll be nicer more. But what is called a drawer box. It's just a little box that shows it empty. You slide it closed. There's a little one on here. This just slides a little bit to unlock the mechanism, and you've got the product in it. Now, I just went on the internet. It's hard to see. It's kind of too light. And I just found a very colorful keyboard that doesn't have numbers on it. Just that's what we use this for, to think about how can I take. It had some dragon symbol on here. I didn't want that as Santa. It looks like Santa's typing the keyboard to find out if they're naughty or nice. And I just put a little one on the back too, just for fun. But just another way of doing a little magic, having it with you, and making a longer process out of it. Then you can tell the story of putting the naughty or nice underneath your pillow. Or mom and dad can decide if you've been naughty or nice. Even though we don't always like to eat this side, but put candy canes in there, put coins in there, put stickers. There's plenty of things you can do in these boxes. So it's just an idea that takes everything a step further than just handing out those things. I'm going to love doing this trick. I just got a few minutes. Oh yeah, we've got a couple minutes. I need everybody to help me with this one. Everyone help me with this one. I'm going to put up a sign here. Hopefully everybody can see this. What I'd like for everyone to do is on your screen, place your finger on any circle, which is actually an ornament, any circle ornament. Just place your finger on the screen of any circle, which would be an ornament. Okay? With the word Grinch on it, that's probably even better because we don't like the Grinch. So any word with the Grinch on it, let's play it safe that way. Any circle that's got the Grinch. Now move your finger up or down to the nearest square, which would be a present. Up or down to any square package, which is a present, the square one. Very good. Very good. Now we got the second spot for your finger. Now move your finger left or right, doesn't matter, left or right, whichever way you can go, to the nearest circle ornament. If necessary, you can cross over a square. That's okay if you have to cross over, but go to the nearest circle or ornament. Very good. Now, one more time, here we go again. Move diagonally, that's crisscross, to the nearest square or present, square or present. Now we're almost done. We're getting there. I know it's getting old already, but that's it. Now you've tried it 4 different times. Now your final move. Now move down to the nearest circle ornament. You always make it, Santa always makes it back to the North Pole. How many got to the North Pole? It's a mathematical trick. It's all done mathematically. It doesn't have to be Grinches. It can be anything. It was done on the David Copperfield show in the 70s with different magicians' names, where it originally started. But it's all done mathematically, and it's also one thing to have along that doesn't take up much room, that adds entertainment, adds time to your home visit, or if you're sitting in a chair. And you don't really need much of a prop if you just got a piece of paper, and you'll eventually learn the lines or parts of them. So it's just some fun stuff to do. It's just all these. It just helps me out with interacting with everybody. So thank you again, with all my heart. Thank you. You guys are wonderful. Love you all for letting me be a part of this. And see you next week. Well, see you in a minute when they turn this up, and I'll be back in a second. See you then for another.
Digging Deeper is brought to you by Thermapparel and Holiday Photo Magic. And Magical Performance A to Z is brought to you by King Rest Partners and Caboose. I want to say thank you to those folks for their generosity. I've got several things here real quick. Nobody has gotten the bonus the year that the record was set. Now, Joe Cunningham was close. He had the right 4 digits, just not in the right order. And that is for your name in that hat for the drawing, which is a $479 scholarship opportunity. So it's worth researching.
Will spin. It's a will spin.
Wheel spin. She keeps telling me it's not a name in a hat, it's a wheel spin. Hey, old habits are hard to break.
Just
okay.
It was cool to watch that wheel spinning with your name on it. That was fun to watch.
Yes, that was. It was crazy, wasn't it?
That was fun.
Let's see. What was the other thing I had? Well, here, let's go to this. This is one for you, Phineas, on your segment.
Ken Kringle says that he has little wheels that pop out of his runners when needed. As a matter of fact, a gentleman in Huntington Beach, California, saw this one Christmas Eve and used them as inspiration for the first Heelys tennis shoes back in 1999. So,
And I got to give a thumbs up to Ken Kringle. He shipped my new belt out today, so my new belt he made for me is on its way.
Very nice, very nice, very nice, very nice. Oh, I know what the other thing was. Charlie Johnson. Charlie, I will see you next week. Me and Mrs. Claus will be rolling in there late Tuesday evening. So we're going to be in a little bit earlier than Wednesday, but I need to get with you, make sure we get everything set up whenever it's convenient for you. Just get with me, brother. Okay. Still no winner on that date, huh? Okay, well.
we do now.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so let's get into this. The Sleigh Bell Brain Teaser. The city recorded the coldest record Christmas Day temperature was International Falls, Minnesota. I have a cousin that lives in Duluth, and I know up along the Canadian border, around the Great Lakes, it can get cold. And that temperature was a minus 37 degrees. And both of those answers for the prize from Santa's Closet and name on the wheel for the drawing goes to Santa Jerry. Jerry, if you will, sir, send me your mailing address with your name and your t-shirt size and a private message on Facebook, and we'll get your prize on the way from Santa's Closet. Wade and Scarlett over there. Okay, so that brings us to the bonus round, which we just revealed Sniggleburger
I
won.
have a question on this one.
What?
So John says, was it 1996? He doesn't sound so sure about it, though. So we get confirmation from him if he's confident in his answer.
John say yes, it was 1996.
Well, maybe he's thinking of Jeopardy. Don't you have to pose it in a question in Jeopardy?
Yeah,
So that's probably what
exactly. We're going to go ahead
Jeopardy.
and John anyway. 1996 was the answer there, not that long ago when you stop and think about it, 29-ish years ago.
No, 30.
Huh?
30 years.
30 years.
Years, yep. Depends on when it happened, which was, we didn't have the exact date, so yeah, 29 or 30 years, man. Okay, Angela, let's play Cherry Hill Programs. Thank you to Cherry Hill Programs, and watch TNL tomorrow night and have a chance to win some swag. You watch TNL tomorrow night, go over to the Cherry Hill Program Santa Central, powered by Cherry Hill Programs, group page on Wednesday, and there will be a little game that you can play that will have been derived from tomorrow night's show, and it's good for swag, either a hat, t-shirt, something. Go over and play, have some fun. All right, guys, you got any final thoughts there, Phineas?
Join into the Claus Connection tonight with Sean White, and she will be having, speaking of unseasonable weather during the holidays, she will be having Santa Bahamas.
Bahamas, that's right.
Tonight. So if you're ever wondering what it's like to be the Santa on a Caribbean island during the winter, now's your time to find out.
And many of you may remember that show was slated for 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we were in the green room. It was minute to 2 minutes before airtime, and we lost her. And she sent us a message on the telephone saying, we had a thunderstorm, I've lost power, we're going to have to postpone the show. So this will be the makeup for that show. Everything is ready and set. Don't forget to join that tonight at 6. Randall?
Sounds like fun. Bahamas. Bahamas. Yeah. What would it be like to be a Santa in Bahamas? I'd rather just lay on the beach.
Well, I'd rather be in Michigan.
Okay.
Right now, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. We were talking earlier about storms that have actually they're running all the way up through the United States, right up toward y'all's area. So we may get into some inclement weather on our way up this next week. I hope not. We're going to pray we have good weather all the way, but we will see you guys in Michigan on Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning,
Fantastic.
whenever we
Woo!
have to run into each other. All right, don't forget to watch all the 2026 family shows. Tune in, kick up your heels, and join in the fun. All powered by TNL Network Productions. TNL on the road. We just announced that today in Cincinnati. So if you're going to be there, look for us. Come by and say hi. And the credits for the shows, our weekly shows, will run at the end of our program here. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Had a great crowd today. Our numbers have grown immensely this year on both the Monday YouTube channel and our Tuesday YouTube channel, as well as across the board for all the TNO networks. You guys are really knocking it out of the ballpark. You're watching all the different shows. Last night was a great show over on the Santa's Workshop. And so don't forget all the shows this week. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. Well, I won't, but they will. But I'll be around.
Just don't press the wrong button, Bob.
When he comes home, he's not pushing no buttons. Anyway. All right. See y'all later.
See ya. Have a great week.